KMES English Medium Junior College. Welcome its 11th standard students for online lecture of psychology for the chapter 6 stress, for the topic coping with stress. Students, in today's lecture, we are going to study about the topic 6.4, coping with stress. Under this, we are going to study the following subtopics. 6.4.1, problem-focused coping. 6.4.2, emotional-focused coping. 6.4.3, Provit's theory. 6.4.4 Defense Mechanism. Let's study each of these four topics in detail. Six point 4.1 Problem-focused coping. Problem-focused coping is also known as direct way of reducing the stressor or direct way of resolving conflict. When an individual focuses their effort on the problem or conflict, they use direct way of resolving conflict, where they accept the reality as it is and try to solve the problem. In this strategy, that is problem-focused coping, stress is reduced by trying to resolve the conflict by working on the task at hand. In problem-focused coping, the target the cause of stress in a practical way. There are three ways in problem-focused coping can be targeted: by attack, by compromise, or by withdrawal. Let us see example of each of it. For example, assume that Sumi, a football player, wants to be selected for the state level match. She gets negative feedback about her performance during practice matches. Now, she focuses on the diet, practice and technique for better performance. The effort that Sumi takes to cope with the stress is directly attacking the conflict to resolve it. Thus, she is using the direct way of resolving conflict called as attack. Second example. Let Sumi be not selected for the state level competition. Now she chooses to work as a coach or a commentator, so that she is using the direct conflict resolving strategy called as compromise. In this, if a person cannot achieve the goal that she wants, she lacks the capacity, she may adjust the goal to the nearest possible goal, which is called as a direct way of resolving conflict by compromising way. Coming to the third way. Here, imagine that Sumi may leave football altogether and may indulge into something else, which she prefers the most. Now she is using the direct conflict resolving strategy called as withdrawal. In this, when a person cannot achieve a particular goal, after putting best effort, she may indulge in beating retreat or withdrawal herself from the goal. So these are three target ways of dealing with problem focused coping. Emotion-focused coping. Emotion-focused coping involves trying to reduce the negative emotional response associated with stress. Here, one does not work on reducing the stress or resolving the conflict by working on the task itself. But work is done to reduce negative emotional responses that occur due to exposure to stressor. Here, an individual tries to ward off negative emotions by keeping his mind stable with meditation or stuffing down negative emotion by quarreling with others. When a person uses another way, instead of centering her effort on the goal, he used the emotional focus coping. Focus on the emotion resulting from stress. Let us look at one of the examples of it. If Sumi indulged in overeating or meditation or writing poems or blogs to reduce her stress or blame, she is using emotional focus coping. Coming to the another topic of today's lecture, that is Freud theory of psychoanalysis. According to this theory, our personality is controlled by three aspects, that is id, ego and superego. It has a psychic energy. It is the most primitive storehouse of our biological energy. It operates on pleasure principle and demands immediate gratification of desire. It operates on primary process thinking, where logical rules are not applied. For example, if you like someone, he or she has to like you in the same way. It operates on two energies, libido, which is the sexual energy, and thanatos, which is the destructive energy. A boy who is under the control of it, and if she likes someone, he would either compel that girl to like him back, libido, or if it could be one-side affair, or if she does not like him, then he would indulge into any other unexpected behavior. Ego. Ego operates on reality principle. It has better problem-solving capacity compared to it. As per ego, immediate satisfaction of earned by it needs to be controlled as it is unacceptable. For example, having strong desire to copy during exam is to get better grades, but it needs to be avoided because if a student is caught copying, he will be suspended and will waste his year. Secondly, next year he will be a failure as his foundation will remain weak. So, ego indulges into secondary process thinking, as it is known how and when to satisfy the desire. Coming to the third, that is superego. Superego internalize moral values of society through parents, friends and school. These are does and does not of the society. It is a social right and wrong we pick up unknowingly from our role models. The superego helps us to control impulses coming from it, making our behavior less selfish and more virtuous. Defense mechanisms are the unconscious strategies used to protect the ego from scattering due to unacceptable and harsh reality. It is a face-saving device. It functions as a shock absorber. It is a stopgap arrangement that provides some time to a person to come to terms with reality. However, it should be used moderately, as excessive use of defense mechanism leads to habit of escaping from reality and indulging in falsehood about one's own life. Defense mechanism is a direct way to cope with stress. Some of the defense mechanisms described by Dr. Sigmund Freud are as follows. First, repression. Let us look at one of the examples to understand what is repression. Azhar wants to go a fair against his father's wish and got lost when he was a child. He slept on streets for 3 days. He went through a lot of stress during this period, but he does not remember the incident at all in his adulthood. Here, Azhar has unconsciously repressed the traumatic incident. This defense mechanism is called as repression. Repression is an unconscious mechanism employed by the ego to keep disturbing or threatening thoughts outside your conscious awareness. Those that are often repressed are those that would result in the feeling of guilt from the super-ego. Repression is different from suppression. Coming to the next defense mechanism, that is displacement. Let's look at the example of it. Robert was scolded by his boss in the office. After coming home, he scolded his wife for no reason. The action performed by Robert is called displacement. Here, Robert displays his own feeling of anger on his wife. This is known as displacement. Displacement is the redirection of an impulse onto a less powerful target. In this, a person cannot retaliate against the actual source of anger. The person redirects his anger on a less threatening object. If the principal gets angry with the teacher, she may come to the class and start scolding the student without any strong reason. Coming to the third type of defense mechanism, that is projection. Let's look the example. Pritam has a lot of anger toward his boss. Instead, Pritam denies being angry and feels that his boss has a lot of anger towards him. Pritam projected his own feeling of anger onto his boss. This is called as projection. This involves individuals attributing their own thought, feeling and motive to another person. For example, Rakesh could not write his paper well as he had not studied. He will not accept that he is the one responsible for it. He may say the most of the questions were out of syllabus. Coming to fourth type of defense mechanism, that is sublimation. Let's look the example. Malti likes a boy, but the boy does not like Malti. Malti likes to write poetry and divert her mind toward poetry. Malti directed her pain and energy towards a constructive and attractive cause. This is called sublimation. Sublimation is considered to be a more adaptive defense mechanism in that it can transform negative anxiety into a more positive energy. Instead of converting this energy into a socially unaccepted behavior, a person may use sublimation to reduce his motivation into a more acceptable, even productive endeavors. Coming to another type of defense mechanism, that is identification. Let's look at the example of it. Radhika's mother has a violent temper. Radhika starts imitating mannerism of her mother. Radhika subconsciously adopts the manner of her mother whom she is afraid of. This is called identification. In this, by adopting other person's mannerism, repeating phrases and language patterns, a person tries to use the minor, his character traits, and start behaving like another person, trying to control one's anxiety level. Coming to the another defense mechanism, that is daydreaming. Let's look at the example of daydreaming. Sujata is a poor and cannot fulfill her desire. Sujata daydreams of living in a luxurious house. Sujata resorts to daydream in order to escape from the reality of poverty. When life appears to be distressing, people often use fantasy as a way of escaping reality. An adolescent may daydream about standing first in an exam or getting most popular person as his friend. It is dangerous for adolescents' mental health. If they daydream excessively, they may lose touch with reality. Coming to the last form of defense mechanism, that is rationalization. Zubin cannot afford a car. She says cars are not environmental friendly. Zubin could not fulfill the expectation. He gave false excuse. This is called rationalization. Rationalization occurs when a person attempts to explain or create excuses for his failure. In doing so, an individual is able to avoid accepting the true cause or reason of his failure.